What is your role?
My role, I see myself as an entertainer. I'm trying to write good books, make people laugh, make them cry, provoke them, make them angry, make them think if possible, to get a reaction, give pleasure. I do not see myself as a social commentator because I don't look at any of these things we've been talking about hard enough. I'm not really skilled at it, but I like to write, I like to throw words around. And if I can give pleasure in that form, I feel I'm earning my pay. I have no desire to be a leader of any kind. I dislike being called a guru. I think every man should be his own guru, every woman her own gurette. We should all be leaders. I'm an anarchist. My father was a wobbly, IWW. We should all take charge. We should all be leaders, neither followers nor rulers. Make our own decisions. I'm really a Democrat, small d. I really believe in democracy, direct democracy. I think every issue of any importance should be decided by popular referendum. It's nice to see these petitions get on the ballot. The process should be made much easier. We could do away with a bunch of morons and moral dwarfs up in the state legislature and decide state policy by public referendum. I would love to see that. I think the majority of the people in this state and in this country are almost always far ahead of those who call themselves the authorities or presume to be our leaders. They're not leaders. When was the last leader we had in this country? Thomas Jefferson, perhaps. Anyway, my role is just to write books. I'm not really trying to do anything more than that. Write some good books, if possible, and enjoy my life and the lives of my family and friends. And my enemies. I enjoy their problems too.
What do you see as being the major environmental problems in Arizona today?
Progress, development, growth, industry, everything that the politicians and the Chamber of Commerce loves, I'm against. I think it's gradually destroying Arizona. And I don't think it'll survive. I think we're using up our resource base, especially water, much faster than it can ever be replaced. And therefore, unless some sort of technological miracle saves us, I imagine that in a century or two, that Phoenix and Tucson will be small towns again, and probably very nice places to live.
Arizona seems to be committed to coal and nuclear power. Is that without drawback?
Well, the disadvantages of coal are pretty obvious. The burning of coal pollutes the air. Strip mining destroys a lot of good rangeland, depriving ranchers and Navajos of their resource base. And coal, too, is just a temporary fix, even though we may have an awful lot of it in this country. It too will be used up sooner or later. So if we want to create a long-term civilization here in the West or North America, I think eventually we're going to have to rely on renewable resources like sunlight and grass and trees, surface water, running water. But I realize that this is a utopian kind of thinking. Most people in Arizona or in the United States, for that matter, don't take it seriously. The people who run this country assume that technology and science will rescue us each time from our foolishness. And so far, it might appear that they've been right. Or if we burn up the planet, then we'll, I suppose, try to export the human species into outer space, space colonies, colonize the moon, Venus, Mars. But that's what I would call real crackpot thinking, scientific utopianism. And uranium, you mentioned that, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I guess if we complete the Palo Verde nuclear plant, we're going to have the biggest one in the world, is that right?
That's what they say.
I find nuclear power very unappealing, first of all, because it's undemocratic. It centralizes control. It puts our lives and livelihoods in the hands of a very few people, and probably one big utility, one big public agency, over which the public has very little control. And of course, there are the well-known dangers of it. There's no guarantee that these nuclear plants won't break down and melt down and maybe force the evacuation of the entire city of Phoenix someday. That is a very expensive form of power. I don't know the economic details, but it may turn out to cost more than it's worth. It's simply in dollars. Nuclear power has been a heavily subsidized industry so far, subsidized by us taxpayers in one way or another. And that's how it's survived as long as it has. I doubt if nuclear power would last another 10 years if we had a truly free market economy. It's expensive, it's dangerous, and it's undemocratic. And uranium mining, of course, also destroys rangeland again, in some cases wilderness. And the problem of what to do with the nuclear waste has still not been solved. Nobody wants these nuclear waste dumps in their own state.
What do you see the future of environmentalism being?
Well, I think it has a very good future. The worse the environment gets, the more popular environmentalism becomes. People like James Watt do us a lot of good to really spur interest in environmentalism and boost the membership in all sorts of conservation organizations. People always get concerned about things that they think they're in danger of losing. So it often comes too late. I think America has led the way in this field. We are probably the most environmentally conscious big industrial nation on earth. Getting the parks established a little over a century ago. First nation on earth to do that. Good thing we did, too.